Hi there, good morning. I am Sarah. I am a traditional Usui Reiki master teacher, a holistic life coach, and a yoga teacher. I have been practicing for 20 years. I've been teaching for 10. I go live inside of my group on Tuesday mornings and outside on this business page on Wednesday mornings. Both of them at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And today's topic is money. Let's talk about money from a spiritual perspective. I like to start by sharing that money is a root chakra issue, right? A lot of the times we perceive that when we have enough and we have enough money and we get out of debt and this and that, then we will be safe. Like if we just had twice, just think about it, right? So right now you have your income. If you just had twice as much, you would be okay. That's what we think, right? But then how many times do we see people who much as they have? It's like this more never ending cycle of feeling unsafe and unfulfilled and like something is missing. And so the root cause of this perception is literally a root chakra issue. Our root chakra, based at the perineum, the color is red, is here to help us feel safe. But true safety comes from within. It comes from the inside out. It comes in trusting yourself that you have what it takes to create the resources that you need in order to have the spiritual experience that you want to have. So that's what we're gonna dive into today. I'm a little early today because I accidentally double booked myself, and I will keep this talk short and to the point, I promise. Two quick announcements before I dive right into the topic. Number one, the 5-day challenge that's actually free starts Monday the 25th through Friday the 29th, and then the Saturday after we are going to do a 3-hour live workshop with me for just $47 to really get to the root cause of what your soul is calling for and talk a little bit more. Actually, it's going to be a build on to what we talked today, on how to manifest your heart's desires effortlessly and quickly. And announcement number two is yoga teacher training. Registration is now open. Training starts March 16. All the information and the payment plans and everything that you need is right on my website. You can sign up right online, reserve your spot if you're interested right away, because it's going to be a small group intentionally. I like to work in small groups, and it's a wonderful and amazing journey. Okay. So with all of that said, we said that money isn't really about money, it's about safety, right? It's about feeling secure. The other thing about money is that it's just energy. It's just paper. It comes and it goes, and it is a tool. It is a resource to live life in this world. Like we live in a human world that just constantly requires that we pay rent, that we buy food and gas and everything that we have to do. But that's all it is. And a lot of the times, instead of looking at money from that neutral place, we attach our sense of identity to it. So we think that we are less than somebody else who has money, which is just like pretty silly and ridiculous when you think about it. I oftentimes work with, I have in the past worked with some students who just are very well off. And, sometimes even males will come to me and they'll just kind of feel like a big shot because, they are quote unquote successful according to the worldly standards. And I will, with a heart full of love, smile and say, okay, let's put you in a down dog and see how we're really doing, right? So let's have you sit down for 20 minutes and be still and connect with your spirit and see how you're really doing. Like, why wouldn't that mean so much more than the amount of wealth that you have? And yet in this society, that's not how we measure success. As a matter of fact, if someone is peaceful and quiet and not too egotistic and doesn't brag a lot, you almost look at them like meek and like just weak or something. It's actually a little bit backwards, right? So be mindful of not attaching your sense of identity to money, and also of not judging people. And a lot of the times, this is why I work well with those students, because I don't judge them. I don't look at them for the success that they have supposedly accomplished. I look at them for the work that they have to do internally. And I think that it is a blessing that they have the resources and the time, but a lot of the times they don't have the time. That's another thing that we should talk about, is how oftentimes we think that if we have money, we'll have freedom, right? And yet, in order to make this money, we work and overwork and pack our schedules until we drive ourselves insane. And now we might have money, but honestly, we don't have freedom, because we are so tied to whatever actions we took and committed to, and the promises that we made and whatever it was, that to get this money and work so much that we actually are slaves to our work. So that's another thing to consider. So be mindful, money is just energy. Okay, do not attach your sense of identity to it. And realize that it's a safety thing, and it has nothing to do with how much you have. It has to do with how much you trust yourself. When you trust yourself that you'll be okay no matter what, when you trust in who you are and doing your spiritual work and trusting in a power greater than yourself. I mean, God manages to feed the little birds and the bunnies and everything in nature, the plants, everything thrives without money. Why wouldn't He do the same thing for us? Why don't we have that trust in this universal life force energy to provide all of the resources that we need for our spiritual path? And that comes from really being grounded in that intention, right? So intention matters. If you are focused on, when I get this much money, I'll be happy and I'll be safe, then you're constantly spinning in that perception. But if you flip it and you say, okay, I'm going to be okay no matter what, because I trust myself and I trust a higher power to provide what I need, and let me just focus on what I need to do internally and what I need to improve, and let me put my time and effort and the resources that I have and invest them towards that intention, then what's going to happen? Universe is just going to reflect that back at you. It's going to say, okay, if that's it. So you have to believe in what you want so much that the universe has no choice but to reflect it back at you. Okay? And that is about going in instead of going out. It's about trusting and being able to draw from within instead of trying to grasp from the outside. The other thing you don't want to do with money is you don't want to hoard it. I'm not saying be irresponsible, and yes, we live in a world where it's good to have a little bit of savings for a rainy day for whatever reason. But if every time you get money, you either, one of two things we tend to do with it. Either we hoard it and we're afraid to let it go. Maybe there's things that we need and we should use it, and the resources would be useful to invest in this or that, but we don't want to because we're afraid. Again, that's fear. Or we receive it and we don't treat it with respect and gratitude, and then we just splurge it and we just spend it and we just are irresponsible with it, because we are not treating it with the sacred respect that it deserves. So the way that you relate to money matters, and the intention with which you live matters. If you are constantly thinking that when you have enough money then you'll be safe and happy, then yeah, you're going to continuously grasp. This is why there's people who are millionaires and they still don't feel that they have enough. And yet there's so many people who live a very simple life and they don't have a lot of luxuries, and they're not lacking anything in their head because their safety comes from within. Their sense of value comes from within. The sense of security comes from within. And they don't look at money as what gives them their identity. That comes really from a moral compass and living in a way that makes you love and respect yourself for who you are and not what you have. So that is my little 5-minute, 9-minute talk for today. It's nice and short and a little early because I have to go to work. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to sign up for the free challenge and or for the yoga teacher training if you're interested. I'd love to have you in any one of those programs. Have a blessed day. Namaste.